Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Growing up with siblings, you can probably imagine things got a little dramatic sometimes. The moment my Korean went missing, I rushed to my brother. You took it. His eyes widened. Not me. Accusations flying, eyes rolling, until we found it under the sofa. So that Korean was a tiny, unseen object. But what happens if this unseen is not a small object, but the very soul of a culture? When we don't truly see a culture, misunderstandings arise. Take the Chinese dragon, a symbol of power and good fortune. Yet, in many Western narratives, it is often depicted differently. But this is not about who's right or wrong. It's about the gap in our collective storytelling. And I guess that's why the topic of last year's speech was, "The Chinese dragon is good." We are inviting the world to see the hidden meaning of Chinese dragon. When the deepest symbol of one culture is consistently misunderstood by another, how can we build the trust needed to face global challenges? If we do not see and trust each other across cultural divides, our collaboration on any global issue will be fragile. The wall of misunderstanding should be the first wall we must tear down. So misunderstandings should be eliminated. Different cultures should be seen. The Chinese wisdom goes, harmony in diversity. Our cultures may differ, but through the active choice to see, to understand, we can dissolve misunderstanding and find harmony. Last year, the 78th session of the UN General Assembly adopted a resolution proposed by China, designating June 10th as the International Day for Dialogue among Civilizations. To make a better world, no one is too small to make a difference. As a translation student, I dream of launching Beyond the Headlines, a social media platform where we, global youth, don't just translate news, we explain cultural contexts, building a youth network of both linguistic and cultural translators, making the unseen not just visible, but truly understood. Years later, my brother and I found more than a Korean under that sofa. So you see, truth is often hidden, waiting for us to stop accusing and start looking. So let's be the generation that chooses to look harder, dig deeper, and truly see each other to find the Korean, find a better world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, contestant number 46. I'm glad you brought up the concept of dragon versus loon. Some argue that we should use loon or loan instead of dragon when we explain what that animal is to the Western audience. Because, as you mentioned, a dragon is often misunderstood and misinterpreted in the Western world for long. But don't you think that loan is too foreign and exotic? It's not even a loan word in the English language dictionary yet. How would you, use loan or dragon to explain what loan is to our global audience? And for that matter, how would you explain the Chinese culture to the world?
Thank you so much for your question. Well, as I mentioned, I'm a translation student, so I've come across with this question so much. Too often, my teacher would ask us, how can you translate this concept, which is uniquely Chinese, to foreign audience? Well, my answer is, sometimes we need to use foreign languages to explain our cultures, but they are always the essence of our culture. We should never be transformed into foreign languages. We should keep its essence, such as long, because dragon and long is totally two different concepts. And in order to let the foreign audience to know the essence of long, I would use Chinese ancient stories or our modern achievements, which showcases the power of China. And I think that's the essence of long. In this way, we can make the foreign concept more relatable to those audience who are not so familiar with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a very good speech. Now, you talked about, you said it's not about what's right or wrong, and you talked about harmony, diversity. I believe that awareness is the first step in resolving cultural misunderstandings. It's important to acknowledge and respect cultural differences. Having said that, you talked about building trust. How can we do that?
Thank you for your question. As you said, awareness is the vanguard of action. So if we don't build trust first, how can our solution work smoothly? Well, I'd like to use a metaphor. Supposing you are building a company and all your solutions are so perfect, so good, but if your team members, if your employees don't trust each other, how can your solution work smoothly? So I think the first step to build trust is to tell stories. Your stories matter. Your stories has power. Your stories count a lot. So tell stories with each other to solve misunderstandings. If we hold misunderstandings, how can we work together to build a better world? So the first step to build trust is to tell sincere stories to each other, just like what I'm doing here today. Thank you.